The RC Logger i1 Extreme, a very good design. I've had one myself for a couple of years, flown it quite a few number of times, and having grown tired of dealing with the rather habitual problem of the frame failing during a hard landing or a crash, I decided that I really wanted to try to fortify the copter a little bit, make it a little bit stronger and less likely to fracture. And if in the process of doing so we could increase the performance, then so be it. So you can see here I've purchased the Usmile glass 180 millimeter HX180 mini quad. The biggest change you'll notice here in the arms, I moved them out close to a centimeter in order to provide enough clearance for the props. In doing so, that allowed only one screw to be used in order to affix it to the main frame. I went ahead and I attached it using the provided hardware, as well as super glued it in there from all sides and bonded it. It's quite strong and still quite light. The other modification you'll see here is I had to modify the bottom of the frame to accommodate the drop-through style to accommodate the RC Logger battery, which it does quite nicely. I went ahead also and I modified using a Dremel. I sheared down the landing arms, and I decided to forego using the tops on them in order to save some weight. I did buy slightly longer screws than the stock fittings that are there, but you can see that everything assembles quite well. The copter, of course, would need to be recalibrated, reset the gyros prior to the first flight. I went ahead and used this 3M double-sided tape to attach the main flight control board to the body, as well as used tie wraps to affix it in the corners. The other use of tie wraps is in mounting the arms here and the motor mounts to the frame. Otherwise, they are held in place by these screws, and they do quite a good job. So we're going to go ahead, get this fired up, fly it, and I'll report back. Here we see the RC Logger i1 Extreme with the HX180 chassis, maiden voyage. We're going to bring this up here and just take a little outdoor flight. All's well. So after the maiden voyage, everyone will want to know, of course, how does it fly? I must say the carbon fiber frame, as compared to the stock frame, which is plastic and quite pliable, flexible by design, but the rigidity of the carbon fiber frame in sport mode really does make the quad respond to the input commands much better than it did when it was stock. Take note that I am flying with the stock props. I do have a set of the aerial kit with the extended props, which I did not use for this flight. I want to test it with the stock props and see how the handling is as compared to the stock body. And overall, 2 thumbs up. Flies much better. And the best news is this HX180 frame was $13 on Amazon. I'm quite impressed. As you can see, I'm not using any of the lower LEDs. You could, of course, mount them. I prefer just to save the weight. Overall, I haven't put it on the scale, although I do suspect that the weight's going to be about the same as stock. I've saved a few components of maybe a few grams, not a tremendous amount of savings, but I can tell you that the rigidity of the frame more than makes up for any weight savings. Obviously, they would work in conjunction with one another, but I would say that the biggest gain that would have from this upgrade would be the handling of the quad. Thanks, and have a great time flying your HX180 enabled RC Logger i1 Extreme.